Okay, for our last video on 15.2, we are going to look at reading a box plot and answering the questions. So we're given two box plots on the same graph, and this is typically what box plots are used for, are comparisons. So we have the starting salary for engineering majors and agriculture majors. So one thing that you'll notice as you look at this is the ag salaries are way more spread out. Okay, so we have our smallest value. Let me write on that first. So here's our minimum, and then here's our maximum. So the max is bigger than the engineering max, but the minimum's lower also. And then remember, these numbers are Q1, the median, and Q3. All right, so let me switch to a different color, and for the engineering salaries, we see that their minimum's a little bit higher, but theirs are not as spread out. So the data is more closely linked together, so Q1, Q2, and Q3. All right, so the first thing we're asked to find is the median salary for ag majors, so that will be this value right here. So we're gonna have to estimate that. It's between 40 and 45,000. A little closer to 45, so let's say about 43,000. Okay, we can't get an exact number, but we can estimate. Now the median salary for engineering majors, that would be Q2. I should have written M for median. And if we follow that down, it lands right about on the 50. Okay, so their their median starting salary is a little bit higher than it was for the ag majors. Part C says, explain how we know that the median salary for engineering majors is the same as the third quartile for ag majors. Well, to do that, we can just take this line. We can see that they're completely lined up. So this is the median here, and then Q3 there. So we can just say the median and Q3 are lined up on the graph. All right, so now we get into some more complicated questions. Of the 612 engineering graduates, at most blank had a starting salary greater than 45,000. So what we're going to do first is we are going to take the total, which is 612, and we're going to divide it by 4. Which gives us 153. Now the reason I'm doing that is, remember that the box plot splits the data into 4 pieces. So if I go back up to my graph, I know that between the minimum and Q1, that represents 1/4 or 153 people. So for a second, I'm going to go back to the other page for just a second. If you look at this example, so 25% here, 25% here, 25% in each side of the box. So I'm taking my data and I'm splitting it into 4 pieces. And then I know that each of these would have 153 people in it. Okay, so there's that idea of a quartile. All right, so my question is, at most blank had a starting salary greater than 45,000. So find your 45,000. It looks like it's right here at Q1. So I want everything greater than that. So I'm going this direction. So it looks like that would be 3 groups of 153. So 153 times 3 would be 459. So basically it's 3/4 or 75%. All right, so let's do the same thing with the ag majors. This one's a little different. There were approximately 240 ag graduates with starting salaries of 35,000 or less. So if we go to the ag box plot, here's 35,000, right? It's at Q1. So if we want people that had that or less, that means there's about 240 people in that whisker. So that means there's about 240 people in this half of the box, 240 in this half of the box, and 240 in this whisker. So basically they're asking us for one little section and they're telling us it's 240. So then if I wanted the total number of graduates, I know I have 4 groups of 240, which would be 960.